Hi guys, welcome to another anime packaging overview video. Today I thought we'd take a look at Great Teacher Onizuka, the absolutely fan-flipping-tastic 90s comedy set with delinquents and Stephen J. Blum in his most fantastic role by far as Onichi Onizuka. It's just one of the absolute classics, not just of the 90s but of all of anime. If this is a series that you haven't seen yet, it's highly recommended. It's by far one of the best school comedies you're ever going to see. It's a 43 episode series and it adapts 15 volumes of the 25 volumes of the Great Teacher Onizuka manga, which was written or made by Toru Fujisawa, I believe that's how you say it. The anime itself was created by Studio Pierrot and it was broadcast in Japan between 1999 to 2000. And the eventual English release came out almost 2 years after the anime had finished broadcasting. The volumes, there's 10 volumes in this set. The first volume started in March, was released by Tokyopop in March 2002, and the final volume came out in September in 2003. The box sets themselves, though, were actually released after the 10 volumes had finished their run. 2 months after the 10th volume came out, the first box came out with the first 5 volumes in a nice art box release, which came out in December 2003, and then the second set came out in September 2004. I think that was December 2003, not September, in case I said that. Anyway, moving on, this is the first box set, covering the first 5 volumes. We've got Onizuka on the front, nice foil lettering, so you get the light on that. It's really cool. And this, the back, the spine, and same print on both sides with the foil, and then foil again there. Okay, so let's look at the first 5 volumes, shall we? This is volume 1, Great Teacher Onizuka. And yeah, this is an absolute classic series. One of the best by a country mile. It's just so funny. It's about a bike gang leader. He's got an advertisement for Initial D and the manga and the soundtrack, which I've actually got the soundtrack. It's about a bike gang leader who decides to become a teacher at a high school so he can be around lots of young high school ladies, but it's not as perverted as it sounds. The perversion of this series is kind of low. Well, in a way, it's used for humour, but there's no etchiness to this show. You know, you're not going to see any nudity and stuff. At least not from what I remember. I think there's implied nudity, but you don't actually see anything. This is volume 2, The Bully, which has got Onizuka, and we've also got one of the main 2 other characters from the one of his classes. We've got Mirai, who's probably definitely one of the main characters, and I believe that's Fujiyoshi. I'm not quite sure though. Anyway, it's basically about he becomes a teacher at a school eventually, and it's how he deals with a troublesome class and the students, and how he goes about teaching them life lessons and etc. in certain ways and stuff, and how it also doesn't always go to plan, and the students are able to cause many a hilarious prank on him. The head teacher, whose name I forget right now, is one of the funniest characters in anime, and so not the head teacher, it's the assistant head. The actual head teacher is an old lady. The assistant head teacher, and the relationship that Onizuka and him have is very funny, as well as the assistant head doesn't really agree with a lot of Onizuka's new age way of teaching, as it were. And yeah, it's just a very funny series. This is volume 4. I like the colour banding, although volume 2 for some reason doesn't have the colour banding. Each release is like colour. Each one has like a different colour scheme to it. This one's green, as you can see, but volume 2 doesn't for some reason. Like, they didn't do it for volume 2, and then somebody decided, let's go back to that colour thing we were going to do for the rest of the volumes, which it's kind of weird. And we've got Betrayal on this, and the 5th volume, so the last volume for that box set, which takes us up to, where does it take us up to? Episode 23, so about halfway through the series, just over halfway. These bits on the inside, actually, because we talk about these, they're cultural, linear and type notes and translation stuff. It's to like to explain some of the bits that aren't obvious. For example, Hakuba, a famous mountain resort in central Japan. It's like the just cultural references, explaining them when you hear them and you don't quite know what they mean. Lucky Star's got like the same thing. I seem to remember using that quite a lot with the Lucky Star release. Yeah, so that's the first box set put out by Tokyopop. Anyway, on to the second one. Put that there. Second one, so we got Onizuka again, and I believe that's Fuyutsuki, which is Onizuka's main love interest for the show, who's a fellow teacher. He starts off as student teacher and then eventually gets the proper job. Fuyutsuki was also a student teacher. That's not really major spoilers, it happens in like the first volume, so kind of like to set out the story. Like a similar print on both sides again, and well, not similar, exactly the same. And no foil on this one, it's just a normal white print. And let's go, so we've got volume 6, Holy Forest. I think you'll struggle to see a cooler series in this, and it's got quite it's like based on something that's very, very popular in Japan, the Great Teacher Onizuka, or the GTO series. The live-action drama, which I believe is only about 10 episodes long, its final episode at the time was the most watched television event, or at least television drama episode in Japanese history, and the amount of people that tuned in to see the finale. There's a very popular franchise in Japan. And we got Volume 7, Showbiz. Takes up to episode 31. And it's just absolutely hilarious, classically drawn, the animation is classic 90s and I absolutely love it. There's some pretty bad 3D used for the assistant head's car. Pretty terrible 3D, but it doesn't really matter. It kind of adds to the charm of the whole thing. It's an incredibly charming series. Onizuka's facial expressions and stuff throughout the show are absolutely hilarious. And yeah, if you like high school shows, like shows set in high school, basically, yeah, you're gonna absolutely love this. This is like a high school. It's like a teacher you wish you had at high school, because there's no way I had any teachers anywhere near as cool as this. Most of the teachers in my high school were complete douchebags. And douche ladies, they're all horrible. So yeah, that's volume 9, and then volume 10. Cool, got through this rather quick. Accusations, volume 10. That's I normally tell you who's on each release, but it's pretty much. Oops. It's pretty much been Onizuka every single time. We had Fujisawa, Fuyutsuki, sorry, on volume 7, and then we got Onizuka, and that is Urahara, who's also one of the troublesome students of Onizuka's class, is on volume 10. Yeah, 43 episode series. Unfortunately, it follows the manga almost page to page for the first pretty much the entire series, I think, apart from like the last couple of episodes, kind of, because it at the time, 15 volumes of the manga were all that had been made. The last 10 volumes of the manga hadn't been made yet, so it kind of make up its own ending, and it's not a very good ending, to be honest. One of the best anime ever, but its ending kind of, to be honest, sucks. It's not of a good ending at all. But it's forgivable because the rest of the series is so good, and the fact that the manga hadn't finished yet, so they kind of just cut it off. I would love to see the final 10 volumes adapted and made into, yeah, I'd love to see them made. I think that would be totally awesome, and it's something I think would be popular as well, because this is a series that, I mean, the live action drama, I believe, had like an extra thing made for it recently, and it was, again, very popular in Japan. But yeah, that is the Great Teacher Onizuka release put out by Tokyopop. It was 10 volumes, and then eventually these 2 box sets. It has been re-released since through other means. Funimation put out 2 semester box sets. They were called. They came out in 2007. They were essentially these, but in like thin pack releases. I used to own the first one, but I sold it when I eventually had the opportunity to buy these. Yeah, they did those, and then they weren't thin packs actually, they were digipacks. And now Discotheque, as earlier this year I think it was, yeah, they announced that they had licensed the series and were going to re-release it, probably in one complete box set, I would imagine. So yeah, there's going to be an opportunity to buy the complete set for probably less than $40, I'd imagine, maybe around $40–50 range, and I'd highly recommend picking that up if you haven't seen the series already, because it is, as I'm sure I've already made my point on that on this, it is an absolute classic, one of the best series I've ever seen. It was firmly in my top 10 for quite a while. It's kind of drifted outside of that since I haven't watched it for like over 3 years now, but I have seen the whole series twice all the way through, and it's very, very good, and I'm sure if I were to re-watch it, it would zip back right back into the top 10, I had a feeling. So yeah, that's Great Teacher Onizuka. I'm going to stop talking now. Thank you for watching this anime packaging overview video. I'll see you soon.